Hey there, brave viewers! It's time for more Level Up! Continuing our trend of reviewing games long after they've been released, we decided to give you our impression of the superhero sandbox slasher soiree, Prototype.
And we were able to leverage our connections and score some one-on-one time with the star, Alex Mercer.
Yeah, that's right. Alex will be with us in the studio. He promised not to eat anyone, so we'll see how that goes.
But, don't worry, we're not going to sugarcoat the review just because he's a, homicidal maniac. We're beacons of subjectivity. No man, no matter how monstrous or terribly fashionable he may be, can dissuade us.
We're also beacons of manliness.
Damn right we are. Let's roll it, Sam.
It's not my name.
Yes, but it's what I call you. Out the face! Prototype is one of those games that was made to be enjoyed for one reason, and yet it is actually enjoyed for an entirely different reason. In this case, we're referring to the whole mysterious controversy zombie plotline the game half-heartedly promotes from time to time. Because while we're sure a lot of effort went into making the story special, you're more likely to enjoy the game due to the sheer absurdity that occurs whenever you free roam around town.
After all, a sandbox game is only as good as its mode of transportation. Following this logic, Prototype is a pulsating love sack of sheer orgasmic delight.
Good
Alex
metaphor.
Mercer leaps, sprints, jumps, and glides around the city of New York with nigh irrepressible gusto. Sure, you can hijack vehicles in the game, but why would the guy who can jump over an apartment complex want to tool around in the Geo? Sensing this conflict, the designers limited your choices to tanks or helicopters only, because if it can't blow shit up, it's not worth Alex's time.
The combat also receives honorable mention because of the variety in which there is to reduce fleshy matter to mush. Alex has the ability to morph his limbs into various sorts of killing ordnance, such as claws, a sword arm, razor whip, and Hulk hands. And really none of them feel redundant or useless. Well, all of them except the increased muscle mass one. That one's just kind of stupid. Tired of slicing and dicing? How about stealing a deceased soldier's assault rifle or rocket launcher and then just unloading on other soldiers like mad?
They'll never guess.
Throw in some screen-clearing Devastator attacks, and you've got a beautifully varied weapon of death at your disposal.
Man, that is a sweet deal, isn't it? Just being able to tear someone apart with your bare hands, wherever you want. I mean, the temptation to misuse that power has got to be maddening. How do you keep from just killing everyone you see?
I only kill those who are responsible for what I've become.
So you're saying you've never scooped up a pedestrian into one of your street brawls?
Not that I can recall.
Well, I think you should know that we do have footage of you hurling someone, a civilian, from the top of the Chrysler building over 2 apartments. I don't think they lived.
So while most of our time playing Prototype was spent gaily romping
And ravaging.
around the city of New York, there is more to the game than just free running.
We're speaking, of course, about the side missions and the storyline. The plot can be summarized as thus. Shady Corporation's biological weapon got loose and is making zombies.
Oh, to news!
Because if it came out in the last 2 years, God knows it had zombies in it. Anyway, they decided to make up for a lack of interesting writing by, beginning the game at the conclusion, allowing you a few brief moments of rampant villainy before the obligatory amnesiac awakening scene and the start of the game proper.
A majority of the game's subplot and conspiracy is unlockable content anyways. In fact, that's one of the game's advertised selling points. The player must find persons of interest as indicated by an overhead icon and then consume them to absorb their memories.
But, you see, that's not enough, because even if you were to fill out the pretentiously titled Web of Intrigue, you'd discover that in a vain attempt to be thought-provoking, the writers decided to throw in contradictory elements, presumably to entice you to figure out the truth for yourself. Spoiler alert, you won't care.
Not a bit. Plus, the voice acting is so awful, you'll most likely want to skip the crap altogether.
Assuming that your eardrums are covered from Christian Bale's performance in The Dark Knight,
Oh!
and you're ready for more Gargles with Razor's gravel talk,
Oh!
you may decide to watch the cutscenes. Bear in mind that they are little more than shots of Alex's troubled expression interweaved with the occasional side character of general irrelevance. So let's have a look at this wardrobe, shall we? I mean, you've got a jacket on top of a hoodie, on top of a button-up, which I believe has a popped collar. Isn't that collar popped? Yeah.
It's cold in New York.
Well, okay, but most people would just put on a thicker jacket instead of 2 jackets, or man up to a coat. I I think the real problem is you're just afraid of getting your face cold. Yeah, with the collar and the hood and everything. Ever considered a beard?
I'm not really one for facial hair.
Sure you're not. All the same, I can't help but think that a little scruff to keep those fragile cheeks nice and toasty would help you get outside of that old box, you know? Ever tried hats? A sombrero would look great on you.
Is the interview over yet?
Thankfully it is.
I've got some people I need to talk to. I'm gonna eat them. After playing through the game, it seemed to us that the story was actually made to be purposely forgettable so that the player would focus more of their time just running around killing people.
All in all, Prototype isn't a bad game. It's not really what we would define as a classic, but certainly an entertaining way to kill off an afternoon.
I mean, if you're in the mood for a few laughs, a broad open world that's pretty fun to explore, and some truly visceral combat, give Prototype a rent.
Yeah, rent it.
So, I guess Alex Mercer wasn't such a bad guy after all.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because the whole time we weren't on camera, he kept complaining about how hungry he was and how nice I'd look on a plate. Some parsley, maybe.
Sounds like simple small talk to me.
Yeah, small talk, he tried to nibble on my leg, like, twice.
Oh, Sam, you can't form concrete opinions about people just because they try to nibble on one of your appendages.
Okay, my name's not Sam. We've been doing this for a year. You should really know about...
And that's all the time we have for today, folks. And Sam, tune in next week when we...
Are you gonna get my goddamn name?
Level up!
Motherfucker.
Help me!